First it comes on, as quickly it starts to fade.
I kind of like those moments when you're in a club and you're listening to a song and it's a very like positive dancing kind of thing where you're enjoying with your friends, but there's more going on in terms of the lyrics. Like I feel like that's nice to have those layers that you can dip into in the music, you know. That means that the music is kind of more fulfilling to me. I guess it's important for us to have some kind of depth to the lyrics, you know, and kind of meaning. And sometimes that means like, you know, having lyrical content that's like a little darker or a little more serious. You know, I think I think it's okay for that to sometimes be at odds with the music, you know. Like I think that's interesting. Like in the Smiths, for instance, you might have the same thing. Like music that is like incredibly like joyful sounding, but then Morrissey being kind of quite dark and like, you know, unusual lyrical content over the top, or kind of, you know, kind of mocking or kind of humorous or just plain kind of bizarre. Or, I think that's something that's interesting in pop music.
A drummed up country boy who never knew his place. He said, return the ring. He knows so much about these things. He knows.
I think particularly like the single "Need You Now," it's kind of it's a little bit more overtly political than anything that we've done before, and I guess that was kind of a response to the music that I made for that song. I played it to Alexis, and it's quite kind of melancholy chords and things in that track, and I think Alexis's first response in terms of words was something that's a little bit more serious than we normally do.
I need you now. Need you now. Say it loud. I need you now.
You know, having that kind of vocal is kind of a reference to those kind of great deep house records, you know, that have that feel, like a little bit like as you say, like a religious kind of feel, a little bit like a gospel feeling, you know, and house music can do that really well sometimes, you know. And so it was an expression of us kind of really loving that kind of deep house music. I mean, you know, I very much a fan of like reading and listening to the kind of old Chicago original house music scene. Ron Hardy, you know, the Music Box, and Frankie Knuckles at the Warehouse. You know, reading about what that was like, and listening to kind of recordings of Ron Hardy DJ sets and things. You know, that's really a passion of mine. I think those figures were really incredible. I think, you know, house music right now is, you know, it's morphed into like the you know, modern pop music, really, hasn't it? Like definitely in the UK, and I think kind of around the world, you know, the charts are full of very much like pop house records, and you know, some of those are good, some of those I'm not so into, but it's become like the dominant kind of pop music in a lot of ways. And so I think if you're looking for that kind of more like raw, warehousey kind of original house music, you have to kind of dig a little bit deeper. But there are still definitely really, really good parties. You know, there's amazing scene in Amsterdam, of course, like Trow and everything, you know, and like really good record labels like Rush Hour, really good DJs that will still make reference to that original house music scene, and you get the same all around the world. So yeah, you have to kind of look a little bit harder to find that music, but it's still there, you know. But house music's become a different thing now, and in America even more so with the kind of EDM scene, which, you know, it bears very little relation to that original Chicago or Detroit thing.
When I see the beams of those Huarachi lights, I know every single
making a record to really just think about what you are passionate about and what you love, and to represent that, rather than trying to push your sound into the thing that is kind of, you know, commercial at any time, you know. So yeah, when we make a house record, it's not really the kind of thing that you would really hear in the pop charts too much. It's kind of our version of what we love about house music. And when we make a kind of R&B, more influenced track, then it's kind of influenced by the R&B that we love, rather than the stuff that is, you know, kind of trendy right now.
You know I'm burning up. My age says I'm an adult, but some days my heart will not be told.
So yeah, there are a few references, like lyrically, to aging on the record, but I think it's just us trying to be kind of honest about our feelings, you know. It's not something that kind of concerns me too much from day to day. You know, if we're going into a club to DJ, then you notice that you're significantly like older than most people, so you kind of feel it for moments then. But you know, in a way that becomes like a nice thing, because if you're passionate about records and about collecting music, then in some ways you feel like playing records for younger people is like an opportunity to kind of show people some records that they might not know yet, you know, kind of you know, give people an experience that they might not have had yet. So that becomes like a really like joyful thing to do.
I just can't get enough, burning up.